what were your broader impressions of Cooper Flagg and Cameron Boozer?
Well, in a more kind of practical sense, it's just that the 2026 draft is going to be really, really good. The 2024 draft looks like it will be pretty bad, unless some guys pop. 2025, a lot of those dudes were in the U18 tournament in South Asia recently, and they got crushed, and they finished like 9th. So that class doesn't look awesome. But 2026 looks amazing because it's Cameron Boozer, who, yes, is the son of Carlos Boozer, Cooper Flagg, who is the second coming of Chet Holmgren, and then Koa Peat, who we talked about a few months ago because he goes to my high school and is in Arizona, and he's going the sort of small market public school route. He's not transferring to a prep and whatever, but that's 3 dudes who are freak athletes already as juniors who have like this incredible skill set that feels like it could play in like, at least G League Ignite tomorrow if they wanted it to. And that leads me to the second takeaway, which is honestly, and this was not planned, but it is my honest feeling watching some of this, is back to expansion. The league is too good. Like we are at a point where we are so good at producing basketball talent that it's going to require like the expansion of the NBA and more globalization of the game and all this stuff in the not too distant future, because every team in the NBA already has like a star level player, and we're talking about more generational talents coming in.
I've really liked from what I've seen. I've watched more of like Flagg's kind of highlight stuff, and I think like one of his games. I've liked him. Just the way how big he is, the kind of things he seems like he can do from the wing. It's just like every NBA team is gonna like want a guy like this. Like it is the size, it is the feel. It's also just because Boozer he's a twin, and he has another brother who's gonna be like
they're both twins.
Yeah. Okay. I did not really.
Flagg is a twin also. It's the weirdest thing. Yeah, his brother's named Ace, and then Cameron Boozer's brother is named Caden.
So I knew about Caden.
Yeah.
Here's what I would say.
And Koa Peat, also, the third guy in this group, is Andres Peat, the lineman for the Saints. That's his brother. And he has like 5 athletes in the family. They're in like college sports and whatnot. So, yeah, another example of how much we're maturing in terms of producing these dudes is there's just athletes on athletes all of a sudden in America, it feels like, at least in basketball.
So then I look at like, so you're telling me about like, to roll this back a second. So you have Cooper Flagg and Ace Flagg, and the other day I said that like I want Cooper Flagg to like star in like a Western film. I now need them to star in a Western film together because those are fucking cowboy names. Those are cowboy names. Ace and Cooper Flagg, like I know they're from Maine, but those are like you live on a ranch. Like you're on a Yellowstone spinoff on Paramount Plus with those names. That Taylor Sheridan is going to use your names in a television show. Cooper Flagg, that what we've seen, I think, just is really intriguing. There's a lot of time between now and where this goes. And what these guys, I think the other thing about this that fascinates me, Brendon, and you watch a little more than me, I am really curious to see like what these guys decide to do as far as their steps post high school, right? Like, who goes G League Ignite? Does anyone go to OT? Does someone go overseas? Do they go to college?
Well, part of the interesting thing about this is the Boozers obviously have the inroads to North Carolina. And then Cooper Flagg has been open that it's a dream of his to go to Duke. And so we might be heading toward a Duke, North Carolina situation with these generational guys.
So are we bringing, is Tobacco Road just like back then? Is this what like really brings back the Tobacco Road rivalry back to the national bigger conscience?
Yeah, who went to North Carolina the Zion RJ Reddish year?
Oh,
I don't think that North Carolina was very good.
What year did they go to Duke? I will Google this. What year did they go to Duke?
2018-19 season was the Zion year.
Well, tell me about this game. Tell me about this game a little bit.
Yeah, let me tell you about Cooper Flagg. So basically, people have compared him to everybody from Paolo to Andre Kirilenko to young Lamar Odom. There's really not a comp, partially because he's a white guy who plays like this. His athleticism is legitimately game-changing, and he really just feels like right now, to me, a smaller Chet Holmgren. if I'm being honest. But his first step, his just foot speed is crazy. He closes out in the blink of an eye. He gets by guys no matter who's guarding him. And he has like the quick twitch leaping at the rim to block. I mean, you'll look at his box scores in some of these high school games. He has double-digit blocks like it's nothing. But he can also pull up from three. He also has open court passing ability and as well as like the ISO shot creation in the extended post or elbow types of spots. So I do think it's fair to say we've never seen somebody like Cooper Flagg, whereas Cameron Boozer is, I mean, like I was texting with somebody who's watched him in person, who I know from Phoenix, and there was a big high school competition over here that Boozer was at, and like he's 15. If you watch him and you're like, that just looks like Paolo's freshman year. Like he is physically already there, and he's polished in a way in terms of his footwork and just knowing his role, playing unselfishly, perfect 3-point form, very much an NBA player's son type of setup for him. But he feels like he could walk into the NBA tomorrow. And he's the guy that's actually number one in terms of most people's rankings at this point is Boozer.
Yeah. Interesting. That class is going to be tons of fun, and I hope we get them. It would be really cool to see them both in college in kind of like a throwback way. Like, I love the G League Ignite thing. I think that's been such a great option for guys. It was clearly really good for Scoot. It would be kind of, if these guys go that route, that would be, I think, a really just to see them in that way, I think would be really interesting. And if they go,
Cooper Flagg would become one of the more famous college athletes we've ever seen. I mean, there is an undeniable element of this when an athlete is white, they get more hype, and that will happen. And it's not even about race. I'm not even saying it will be conscious on anybody's part, but we get really hyped up when there's white basketball players. It just happens because it's so interesting and unique and rare.
And Duke.
So and if he goes to Duke, then that will be even more pronounced. And like people should get ready. Like he's already dominating like 12-year-old social media, but he's coming.
12-year-old social. All right, Brendon. Here's the 2018-19 Tar Heels roster. You ready? I'm gonna give you some of the names.
I have it up.
I'm not gonna give you every name, but I'm gonna give you the highlights. Leaky Black, who's on a 2-way deal with the Charlotte Hornets. Kobe White, Nasir Little, Cameron Johnson, Luke May. Garrison
hit one of the most famous shots in Tar Heel history. Yep.
Garrison Brooks is there. He's played in the G. He was with it's a per his Wikipedia page with the Westchester Knicks. Not going to pretend like I knew that. A lot of guys without Wikipedia pages.
Yeah. No, that team was fun. I had forgotten that was the Kobe White, Cam Johnson, little year that they all got drafted in the first round, and that was when the draft where Kobe White, the reaction he had to Cam Johnson going 11th, he was just like dumbfounded, but he was super hyped up because his guy got, reached for, so to speak, in the draft. That's what we're headed for. I mean, I honestly feel like the coolest part is that they're all different, but they're all basically like 6'8" athletic freaks who just already feel like they could play NBA basketball at age 16. They're all exactly like perfect modern forwards. And that's kind of a funny part of this too. It's not Scoot at 6'3" as a pick and roll guard and Victor as like a Kevin Durant clone, who are very different. It's like three of the same player who just play differently. And so it's going to be really fun. I kind of wish they were going to college this year because, again, this draft class, not too
So
spectacular.
real quick, I looked up the ESPN, at least their most recent one. So I don't know how often this is updated. I can't exactly tell you. It's hard to tell. There's a kid in Cuyahoga Falls named Darren Peterson, which is near me. Cuyahoga Valley Christian Academy, 5-star prospect, 6'5", 185. So kind of more in the guard vein. This isn't one of these like ultra forwards. I might be going out to Cuyahoga Falls, Brendon.
Sounds good. I'm looking. So the best place for this for me is NBA Draft Room. They have like mock drafts out to 2026 or 2027 because they're sickos, and I believe they have all three of these guys at the top three. I'm just going to stand for Koa Peat no matter what, even if he gets left behind in some of this, because it just feels like having watched him play, it just feels like the perfect scenario where he's going to go to a small school and not be heavily recruited, and then he'll get to college and everyone will remember that he's amazing. He's the best athlete of the three, in my opinion, and he just lives in a suburb of Phoenix, so he's not going to get the same hype that Carlos Boozer's son or, this white freak athlete is going to get. But Koa Peat for life. I'm going to get a t-shirt.